Hi, welcome to a new video, dedicated this time to a new device I never reviewed before. It's an IP camera for surveillance, and it's nothing else than a dome camera. So with integrated PTZ, where you will be able to pan and tilt the camera. So it's a new topic for me, and I will try to make my best review and try to test most of the features. So what we have in hand, we have the Wanscam HW0054 model. So it's a 2 megabyte sensor camera, able to shoot some 1080p resolution. And it's an IP camera, so able to broadcast the signal either over Ethernet or thanks to a built-in Wi-Fi device, so no real need to connect through an Ethernet cable your device to your internet box. What we have as features, a lot of features, so as I previously mentioned, but there is a full list on the corner on the side of the machine. So the Wi-Fi is supporting up to the N version. Okay, you have some motion detection. Okay, and more specifically, as we will see in the software part, we will be able to define some different zone for detection. So it's very useful, for example, to reduce the false alarm rate often associated, for example, for some flying leaf or some stuff like this, or some animals like this. So thanks to this detection zone definition, we can reduce drastically the false alarm rate. We have night vision capacity thanks to some strong built-in infrared lights. Okay, and we are able, assume to the advertising, to capture up to 50 meters of distance in night conditions. We have assume a night plug and play. It's compatible and you can work directly with your PC, and you have either an iOS or Android application. Okay, and voila. So it's really good, and has other features. For example, of course, you can control the tilt and pan, okay, orientation, but as well we have a 5 factor magnifying capacities, and you can control the zoom out or zoom in through the apps or the PC software. That's great, and more. We have also a built-in speaker and a mic. So for example, you can record if someone is close to the IP camera, but more, you can even talk to this person or this group of person through built-in speakers. That's great. What can I say is not a PPoE compatible, so not power over Ethernet. It could be maybe the first drawback of this model. Okay, but at least it's on with able, so you can control or add this camera in a cluster of IP cameras. That's also a very good features. So this on-fifth capacity is really the new adding compared to the former Wanscam camera. So let's open the box and discover a little bit all the elements first. Okay, so let's open it, and okay, I'll start to already remove some element. We have first pretty short Ethernet cable. Okay, in practice it will be very useful, and this one is just 1 meter long, so it already the equation of connection can be raised with only 1 meter Ethernet cable provided. We have a power unit adapter here. Okay, delivering up to it's not written, or my 12 volt at 2 ampere. Okay, so not so bad, and ending with a very short tiny DC connector. So this one will be very useful to power, and as I said already in my introduction, no power over internet. It means that you will need such kind of adapter close to the final location position of your IP camera. But whatever you want this one, you can probably also use a waterproof 2 ampere 12 volt DC AC unit. It will be probably more useful for outdoor application. We have an instruction manual. Sorry if it's in this state, because unfortunately I myself cut this piece of paper, but it was in a very good state, and where you can find the basic instruction. Okay, and as we will describe in the more the software part of this video. We have a Chinese one. I don't know what does it mean. Okay, it's probably a warranty paper, some stuff. Okay, how to preset, etc., etc. And what we have inside, we have a key, okay, to install in outdoors condition your IP dome camera. We have a small CD-ROM, okay, where you can find some software, okay, and instruction manual. We have here a bag where you can find the all material element to attach on your walls, your dome camera, and finally this small element to lock completely, to secure completely the installation outdoors. And forgot to mention a 2.4 gigahertz dipole linear antennas, okay, in ECME connection. Okay, now let's have a look to the camera. Really is this one. So wow, it's first glance it's really heavy. Can I measure it, because my scale is only up to 1 kilo, but I'm afraid that this one is over 1 kilos. So if I can see, you can see the about 800. Okay, and if I connect everything, we should be around 871 grams, so pretty heavy. Okay, so we have a full waterproof dome camera, able to pan and tilt. Okay, so thanks to the built-in motors, you will be able to pan the camera close to one full tour, so 355 degrees, and if I'm not wrong, and for the tilt close to plus something up to down minus 90 degrees. Okay, so you can cover almost half of the sphere without problem. On the front you can find the 3 strong infrared lights for night vision application. The 2 megapixel sensors with a field of view quite narrow. I don't think it's exceeding 90 degrees. It's I can't remember well if it's written in the instruction, but it's something between 80 degrees to 90 degrees. But thanks to the pan tilt capacities, is not a big deal. Okay, and we have here a mic. Okay, and here the speaker, so not problem to record and to talk to someone through the IP dim camera. What we have here, we have the antenna connector. So warning, immediately attach before to power your camera, attach this camera, because it's emitting some power and you can burn your built-in Wi-Fi chip if you don't attach the Wi-Fi camera, whatever. So here is the cable to connect, okay, the power, thanks to this small DC connector, the Ethernet, if you want to use more with some Ethernet connection, and it will be a very important element, as we will see later. And here this white button is the reset button to reset completely default settings. Okay, so long press this button more than 3 seconds or even 5 until you will hear a sound, typically a kind of whole Macintosh computer sounds at boot up. Okay, so my first concern is about the length of this cable. It means that you will need to have very close to your dome camera your power cord from the AC/DC adapter, and since this one is also pretty short, you have in practice close to 1.5 meters maximum of amplitude to between the AC/DC adapter power unit and the dome camera. That's definitively a drawback. So my first negative point is about the length of this main cable interface. Pretty short. I would like maybe 1 or 2 meters long. It would be much better. And in practice, especially if you want to install this camera close to your boundaries of your garden, some stuff like this, it would be much more easy to disconnect the power unit, okay, or the Ethernet cable. So with a longer cable, it would have been much better. Okay, so let's continue to describe a bit the elements. First of all, you will need to connect the power adapter, and it's assumed to for the first time you can make the binding between the dome camera with your favorite, for example, tablet or smartphone without any Ethernet connection. Okay, so we will check that fact if it's possible, and there is a very interesting way to connect directly through Wi-Fi to make the connection of your dome camera with your tablet, and indirectly with your dome camera with your internet box. So it's time to power this dome camera to check a little bit what will happen, and I will also immediately reset all the settings, okay, and to show you how to proceed as the first time. Okay, so I will pour the cable, okay, and connect. As you can see, my adapter is pretty short, so I will keep press the reset button while pouring. Okay, so I'm keep it and hold the reset button and power the machine until you will hear the Macintosh boot sound. Okay, and there is an auto checking procedure at boot up to calibrate the maximum pan tilt calibration possibility. So after a couple of seconds it should be powered, but I didn't hear any Macintosh sound, so I will keep it press the reset button while pouring. So I will do it. Okay, so now I'm sure that all the settings have been reset to the factory one. Okay, so after we will see one more time the pan tilt calibration procedure in order to be sure that the camera dome, the camera sensor is well centered. Okay, so it will take a couple of seconds. The full boot procedure takes approximately something about 30 seconds. Okay, and in this case, after the calibration, we should be in the binding procedure. So by default, we will try to connect the camera dome with your tablet or smartphone. Thanks to this really strange noise emitted, what is very important at this step, you will need this information on this sticker, so be sure to collect it and to take photos to not lose this information number required for the connection. So I will leave the camera dome like this, and now I will install the software required. Okay, and I will run the Play Store, and as you will see, I will install the Wanscam application. Will take a couple of seconds to install, and you still have this really annoying sound emitted. I repeat, it will be useful for the connection without any internet box way. So it's installed. I will run the application. Should be somewhere here. I will run it. Okay, and to be sure, we will have the let's see. Okay, so we try to, okay, we will add the camera. So it's written, okay, to you will come into this interface where actually we have the default name of the camera, IP camera, and as you can see, the UID field and the password fields are blank. Okay, it's not the moment to fill them. So what is the UID? UID is this number printed here, so starting with Z, and so on. Okay, so please find it on your stickers of the camera. So I will try to press on the wireless application here, and at this moment it's very important to increase the volume of your smartphone at maximum. Okay, so press the wireless application, and I will need to enter my Wi-Fi device here. Okay, so I will write it. So I will apply the password, and as you can see, the tablet also is emitting some noise. Maybe you can hear. Okay, so it's a kind of very strange modulation. So you have to bring pretty close to the mic of the IP dome camera. So it's very noisy. Okay, and it's assumed to finish the configuration in a couple of seconds. Okay, now it's done, and now it's assumed to be done. Okay, so what I can do now, I can press your down button. Okay, and I don't know why it's starting this screen trying to search for LAN, but it's done. And at this time, okay, you will enter the UID. Okay, so I will type it. Be aware it's in capital letters, so I will write it here. Okay, so I will write in capital letters Z. Okay, I have to write here. (1406) in capital letters. One more time, B. Okay, now it's done. I just need to type right now the password, and by default is admin as well. Okay, sounds to be good. Am I ready to go to press to validate here? And if it's working, we should see the connection works. So it's actually connecting, and be aware, I'm in wireless, and definitively I will start to raise a negative point associated with this camera. This is the relatively poor wireless range obtained with this camera. In practice, and I will show some more deeper tests, that the Wi-Fi range is pretty poor. We have just a couple of meters. So actually my internet box is just located downstairs. I am upstairs, and something about 6-7 meters. Okay, I have to cross one wall and upstairs, but nothing else. Okay, and here nothing in connection. I don't see anything. Okay, so I don't know if it's working or not, and definitively I'm really disappointed with the okay, and as you can see, it's written disconnected, so it was not able to connect to the wireless. Okay, so I will try one more time, try to connect and try to point connecting as well, but try to point the antennas close to the direction of my actual internet box. Okay, but actually nothing happened. So it's pretty disappointed. First of all, you need to be very close to your internet box to do this connection, pure wireless connection, and in practice it doesn't work pretty well. So the best option to connect your IP camera first is unfortunately to use the Ethernet cable directly on your internet box, okay, through Ethernet, at least the first time. Okay, then make a LAN connection directly through Ethernet, then tell to him to more play with wireless settings. Okay, so I will give up this attempt to connect this dome camera wireless. As you saw, the dialogue between the dome camera with the tablets seems to work, because it stopped to play some this sonar pings. Okay, meaning that the dialogues was successful, but as you can see, in terms of Wi-Fi range is super poor. So let's go now close to my internet box and make this connection first via Ethernet. Okay, now I'm very close to my internet box. I just power one more time the dome camera, and I will try one more time if very nearby the box internet, how we be able to connect. So we powered, and I will try to make another connection. So I have to wait a couple of seconds, and then as you can see on the tablet, I will try to connect. Okay, and now this time it's online. So you have a really a nice proof that the wireless connection is pretty poor. Okay, I even was not able to cross one wall and one floor. It's really catastrophic. So as you can see now, I am online, and I can press the online, and okay, here is the camera. So I will install the camera dome like this, and let's have a look to the main interface. So as you can see, it's possible to connect, okay, even without any Ethernet cable. Okay, so thanks to this sound system. And now we are really on the main interface. So let's discover a little bit this one. We can play with the zoom with this button, okay, with the zoom in, okay, we can make some focus, okay, or the zoom out, okay, we can zoom out, sorry, by pressing this one. We can turn into night mode. Then for the night mode with some different number indicating the different preset we can able to apply. So according to the instruction we have some different settings. Okay, we have here the sounds. So the very important stuff, okay, by default this, when you install the Android application, is not giving the right to open the speaker or the mic. So what we have to do is to open it manually. Okay, so I will quit the application, exit, yes, and give the application of this one. Okay, in terms of settings, I will go to the applications, apps, and on the one install, so the Wanscam, I will allow the notification permission. I will allow to access to the mic, access to the storage, okay, if you want to record, and that's all. Okay, we are ready to go. So now we can resume the application. Where is the Wanscam? Here, and we can reconnect. Connecting online, it's okay. So now if I press the mic, I can hear. So we have a Larsen effect. I will cut. So what does it mean? It means that the sound is recorded from the built-in mic of the DOM and displayed after, emitted after on the tablet. So you can tweak the sound recording level, okay, as well as the speaker built-in speaker level. So how to proceed to speak, for example, you have to turn. I will decrease the sound here, okay. I will even decrease to 0, and I will try to speak. So I have to press this button here and hold it. Hello, 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 hello. So now this is the built-in speaker of the DOM camera speaking, and as you can notice, the sound level is not really important. So for outdoors application, I'm afraid it will be too weak. So for example, if you have some teeth entering in your garden, or if you have some kids playing at the swimming pool, if you want to say them to get out from the swimming pool, I'm afraid that this speaker will be too weak to be really efficient. Okay, but as I said previously, you can tweak some parameters, especially the mic level and also the speak level through the main interface. But I'm afraid by default the speaker volume is at maximum. So listen one more time what we can obtain. So I'm speaking very close to the built-in mic of my tablet. Hello, okay, hello, 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 okay, sounds, oops, so be aware. Okay, so I will try to cut, to resume. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, now it's resuming. One. Okay, okay, okay. So you can notice that the maximum sound level is not very important. So let's continue to describe a little bit the main tablet interface. Here is to take photos. Okay, so it says that I have to open the application, and I've got it. And here this button is to record the video, not thanks to the built-in micro SD slot, but it will be recorded locally to your tablet. Okay, so you can have two types of recorded file, one locally with a native 1080p resolution, one with a transmitted flux resolution. So actually it's transmitted in pretty low resolution. Okay, so you can stop it, and this button here, this is to select either the minimum image transmission quality, so in low res resolution, or you can turn into max resolution. So it will be by default in 1080p. So here we have the maximum quality. Okay, so the FPV is not the FPV, but the transmitted flux is in 1080p or in 720p by default. Okay, so the max resolution is in 720p, and the minimum is something in VGA, something lower resolution, in lower resolution. So when you can record locally, you can record in 1080p. And when you broadcast the signal, when you are in max resolution, you are in 720p, and in lower, you are in less than VGA. So how to select one to another one? Mainly, it will depend of your data bandwidth. So especially if you're wireless, as you saw, the pretty poor range of these wireless settings. Even after a couple of seconds, we will make some testing. The FPV transmission is super slow and will disconnect after 10 meters, 11 meters maximum. This is really the more negative point of this camera dome element. So we can a little bit more continue the camera settings. So for example, if we quit the main camera interface, we will enter into this one, and we have a settings button here. Okay, we can press it, and here we have all the, I will say not all, but most of them. So this is the application parameters settings, but we can find really the full one thanks to a web interface I will describe later. So we can either edit the password, strongly advise as soon as you will configure this application. So by default is admin. We can set some settings. Okay, so if you want to turn on off the motion detection, okay, and what is the level of the detection, the sensitivity threshold to be more specified. So by default we have the full rectangular zone to be in alert if a movement is detected. Okay, and we can select the level between high, normal, or in low. Okay, so I will turn off this one. Actually, we can set some action, some alarm notifications. So if, for example, you want to send via email some alarm notification, so you have to configure your email, etc., so your SMTP server and so on. We have to eventually, if you want to, as soon as you have an alarm, to record locally on your SD card this event. Okay, if you want to email automatically some pictures of your detection event, okay, or if you want to save also simultaneously through an FTP server the picture or the videos, and how much pictures you want to select when you have an event detection. You can add up to 3 pictures associated with your current detection. So for example, at the beginning of the event and the few seconds later, I think the interval by default is 1 second between each photos taken associated with the detection event. We can select the timing record, okay, so duration in seconds, so you can reduce it down to 50 seconds up to 900 seconds. If we enable or not the recording, okay, and the element, but I think on the web interface these settings are much more better and much more easy to set. We have an audio settings. For example, we have the volume of the output, so the built-in speaker, so it was almost in maximum. and the input volume, so the mic sensitivity, we're also close to the maximum. So I set it to the maximum built-in speaker volume to be sure in this case. The video setting, probably the most important, especially if you want to use the wireless settings. So we have the default bit rate, and actually is set that it's between 30 no, it's not, it should be 32 kilobits per second up to 6144. In fact, in practice, in the web application, it's close to 196 if I'm not wrong. So the maximum bit rate can be bounded up, upper bounded via the web application, not the smartphone one. So you have to be aware. So if you want to improve your video quality, it's better to use the web application. You can select the frame rate, actually between 1 to 25 frames per second, which is absolutely not bad. And the image quality settings between 1 to 6, okay. This is a first stream, so when I'm pressing the max quality in the main camera interface. So for the second, in low resolution, we have a lower bit rate, as expected, the same frame rate and the same image quality, but you will see that the resolution will be different between the first stream and the second stream. So you can apply if you want, if you make some change. The wireless settings, it's actually my current SSIDs, CB key, and the current type of Wi-Fi protection. Okay, let's continue. We can format an SD card. So actually I didn't install the micro SD card. Okay, so but through this you can format this one. Okay, and it's better to use a class 10, okay, U1, or even better a U3 micro SD card. You can set the time settings, so you can either synchronize with the phone or select your time zone. So actually I'm more in Europe, so I will select, for example, in GMT +1, okay, etc. So I will apply it. So I will need to synchronize to reboot, okay, for example. And then I've got some email settings. So you have to select your CMTP server and so on, the username, send to, sender to. So I will configure, I will show you how to proceed if you want, for example, to receive automatically snapshot photos or snapshot videos automatically on the interface. So it's rebooting, okay, because I changed the time zone. And after a couple of seconds, it will reconnect. Okay, so now it's done. So I will change, now it's online. Okay, and we have some FTP settings and system settings, for example, where we can reboot or reset the camera. So the reset camera, it can be only thanks by pressing the button, and the device where we have all the information, okay, the current software version install, the different networks parameters, okay, and we don't have here the firmware install. So via the web application, web interface, we can, for example, also flash a new firmware, okay. So it's working nicely, but for wireless application, I will try now to make another test. And for example, I will work 6-7 meters away, and we try and we show you how the frame rate will drop drastically, even if I'm just 5-6 meters away from the internet box. Okay, so let's do this demo. Okay, so as you can see, now I'm indoors and install this camera. I will measure in meters, and now it's still reaching connection. Try to connect, and I'm only, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meters away from my internet box, and is absolutely not working. Try to connect and is not able to. Still written connecting, but it doesn't find the router, so I will try to hold the camera a little bit like this. And okay, now it's online. It's online, and I will try to press to enter into the device. I can't enter. It doesn't want to enter. I don't know why. So I will try to hold the camera like this. Now it doesn't want. Okay, I will exit, reboot, sure, repress one more time the Wanscam software. Connecting, okay, so it disconnects because due to the very poor link of the Wi-Fi. So 10 meters, okay, disconnecting, connecting one more time. Seems that it doesn't hold the connection. It's too weak for him. Okay, I've got an online situation, so I will press, and it doesn't enter at all to the camera. So probably the data widthband is so poor actually after 10 meters that it is even unable to enter into the main camera interface. So really the distant range is super poor. So I have to investigate why this Wi-Fi link is very poor. I will try to measure the emitted power of this IBDM. Okay, I've got a device measuring the 2.4 gigahertz whatever output power emitted. Okay, so I can connect directly through the ACME connector, and let's measure a little bit what's happened, because I'm really surprised that the link is super poor like this, because it's actually killing any outdoors application. Really, if you don't connect this camera through Ethernet, it's completely useless. The Wi-Fi range is so poor. Okay, so let's try to investigate a little bit more. Let's see how much power this camera dome is emitting. Okay, so attach the device to the output of the Wanscam module. So I will power one more time, so I will have to wait until the device finishes to safe calibrate the pan tilt axis. Okay, and we try to see the output power. Wow, is super low. We have something about minus 26 dBm, and wow, it should be up to 100 milliwatts. So okay, sometime you saw maybe some sporadic when display where it went to something minus 25, or I even saw some minus 14. Okay, if I was not wrong. So but here it's locked into the minus 26 values. So I repeat, this test is maybe not really coherent or really useful, because it's a Wi-Fi device, so with some OFDM numerical modulation. Okay, so it's maybe normal that the power display or the integration of the power of this band via this typical digital modulation is not correct with this type of device. But actually I'm measuring time to time some fluctuation. Okay, sometimes going through minus 26, sometimes jumping with a maximum of plus 10 dBm maximum. But I'm surprised that the I will say the actual main power integrated on the 2.4 GHz is pretty low. Okay, here it jumped to minus 21, here minus 19. Okay, So something about plus, oh, it went to -8 even. So sometimes we have some sporadic jump, okay? So I don't know why, but it's like this, -10 as you saw one more time. Okay, so maybe one is emitting a peak of energy, of power, time to time every a couple of seconds. So let's say that one is linked with the internet box, it's something about -10, but whatever, I'm surprised that it should be over 0 dBm, and even it should be about 10 dBm, 12 dBm, because the output power is officially is up to 100 milliwatts. So correspondingly, we should be about superior to plus 10 dBm. So I think the built-in Wi-Fi device is not equipped of a power amplifier chip. This is why it's not outputting up to 100 milliwatt, but something about 0 dB. I don't know exactly, but it's not for sure. The maximum range we can expect is not here, for sure. And I'm using the built-in Wi-Fi device associated with this IP dome camera. I don't know why, but it's like this. So, what we can do to overcome this problem? In fact, there is one. You will have to connect on the internet, for sure. But if you don't have for outdoors application, you didn't thought many years ago that you will have to install an internet cable for your surveillance application, one way is to use this kind of devices. Okay, so we have a pair of like this, and this one, first of all, the first one must to be connected to your internet box through an ethernet cable here, and then we'll propagate the internet connection, at least for the local area, over your power electricity line, and then close to your the place where you will install your camera, you will install the second one, and then via another second Ethernet cable, you will be able to retrieve your internet connection, okay, your LAN connection, and then with a much more wider bandwidth. So it's a way to cross 20-30 meters without any problem. So we need to buy two stuff like this. It's about 50 euros for the cheapest one. I already made some tests and it's working pretty well, so I can go over 30 meters without problem. So for the rest of my outdoors application, I will have to install outdoors such kind of box. Okay, it will consume more electricity. That's definitely a drawback, but that's life. And well, but it's a way to go further. Okay, so if you don't want to install to make some lot of works in your field, in your house, that's this kind of current electricity holder way is a way to go. Maybe it's time to have a more deeper look to the main internet application controlling the app camera. Okay, so let's now focus more on the web application interface. A little bit more complete and more easy to set and to tweak some parameters. So first of all, you have to find the local IP address of your dome camera. One way, for example, in most of its case, you can access to a local scheme of your local networks through the connection via administration to your internet box. So I did this works, and now I know that my local address is the following one. So I will type it, and if you are aware, this IP address of your dome camera is also printed on your application, Android or iOS application. So actually the my local address, IP address, is this one, and it will be asked to enter the name of the user as well the password. Of course, for the first time you will enter with the admin login password, and you will open a session. Okay, an important remark for a Chrome browser users whatever, Firefox and so on, or Internet Explorer. I found that no browser can display very well correctly all the informations. So especially for Chrome, you don't have, I will connect, so I will connect here, and I will repeat the login and password. Okay, I will open this session, and as you can see, you don't have all the logo and the appring here should be here, and it's not displayed correctly. Why? Because this web interface is based on the Internet Explorer technologies, and via Chrome is not correctly displayed. But if you want to display it via Internet Explorer, for example, so I will type the same address. Okay, I will type the same login password and login here. Is not also the case. You saw in a fraction of a second that the correct logos appeared in fraction of a second. So even through the last Internet Explorer, browser is not working correctly. So I found a workaround for Chrome. At least you will have to install this Chrome extension called tab. Okay, and it's a way to plot, to display correctly any dedicated Internet Explorer application through Chrome. So when you press it, okay, you will be asked one more time to type the login password. Okay, but after a couple of seconds, you can see that the image is displayed correctly, and we have the zoom in, focus, digital zoom, and so on, and appearing correctly. We have also on the right more or less the correct icon display correctly. Okay, so on this one we have the way to control. So for example, we can split in four here the camera, or return in single display here. Okay, we can zoom the camera. Okay, so we have an optical zoom by a factor 5. If it's not enough, we can also add a digital zoom here. Okay, here by a factor 3, if I'm not wrong, to something of a factor 15. Okay, you can see me speaking at the background. Hello, I will hold the arm here, so it's me. So I put the camera here very close to my internet box on the ground, because on the left side, so if I can move gently the camera, oops, at fault, so I will reinstall it correctly. Okay, so we will have some different sources of display. So we can control, for example, we have a right arrow, so if we can press a little bit on it, we can turn the camera. Okay, we can raise up. Okay, we have the arrow up or the arrow down, so we can control through the web interface as well the application, the Chrome or the Android or iOS application. We can control the direction of the camera, we can focus in or out without any problem. So let's do it. And here we are in a typical sunset application, where we have a windows here and some lights, and here in the shadow zone. So let's have here a look to the right settings. Here we can make a complete full tour if you press on it. So we have the fourth direction. So if we want to point to the north direction or to the south, or to make the complete pan tilting, you have to press here. We can also make a full rotation on left and right, or up and down. We can here select the video format between 50 or 60 Hz. The main stream, so by default the first stream is the highest bit rate with the highest resolution, but we have we can configure up to 3 different types of stream. Of course, in general, the second is a little bit in lower resolution, and the third in very degraded resolution in order to reduce the bandwidth at maximum. We can select the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, and so on. The color set is for the night settings, and here we can, for example, record. Okay. Now it's a recording, and maybe you can hear it's using the mic of my laptop, and it's outputting on the built-in speaker of the camera, so it's not so bad. But the sound built-in speaker got pretty bad rendering in my point of view. Here we can record directly on the micro SD card, but here I inserted a 32 GB Samsung, but it said that I need 2 GB and I've got 32. I just formatted the micro SD card, so it seems that we can have some incompatibilities of some given micro SD card, okay, or I have to select a different drive. So I will select this drive, drive D, okay. When you format the micro SD card, I will show in few instance, 2 folders are created, record and snap, but I did that and I still have this error. I can take a photos, okay, but I don't have an icon, and here is to replay recorded file. So I will browse the situation, so I can browse either on the local store or on the micro SD card. And if you search, actually, unfortunately, I was not able to record any file. I don't know why, okay, but it's like this. So let's have a tour on the main parameters, okay. So I will, when you click on the parameter icon, you will enter first on the device information, where you can find the device name, the current EUID number, how you are connected to the network, actually through Wi-Fi, actually how many visitors are displaying the video in real time, the software version, the webware version, the current MAC address, IP, okay, some mask, etc. So some networks settings, okay. We have the as you can play with some different DDNS if you want to export or for on-VIF application, it will be very useful. And the current local time, actually I set to GMT +1, and here we have the card here, so I can press on format SD card, okay. And actually when it will be done, I'm have close to 32 GB, a little bit less, okay. It's written successfully, so I can return, and here I can browse the SD card. So it asks me one more time to enter the login password. Sorry. Okay, and we can browse into the SD card subfolder, but nothing actually is written, okay. So let's continue, and we have the time set. So here I set it through the Android application to GMT +1, but you can select here, okay, whatever your current GMT, no problem, or automatically readjust your local time via some the clock of your system. You can synchronize with your PC as well. So in terms of video, probably the most important settings. We can select the video between 50 or 60 Hz. This is the main profile, so the first stream in the main first panel, okay. And we can select the resolution. So actually is 10 ATPs at 25 frame per second. Can we go above and set it? Let's try it and apply. It says that the frame rate is bounded to 25 frames per second. So maximum in 1080p you cannot exceed 25 frames per second, which is actually not bad at all. We can select the bit rate between 32, and here we can even overbound to 8192. Okay, by default it's set to 6144. So if you have a very good bandwidth via Ethernet connection or a CPL connection, you can even increase to 8192 if you want a lot of details, but actually the current bit rate is really not so bad. We can select the bit rate between variable bit rate or constant bit rate. Is up to you. So with variable you can have some frame rate drop, okay, but if you have some fast transition it should be a little bit better. But if you want some whatever the scene, or if you are filming in general a non-moving situation, or not a lot of moving object into your scene, maybe sometimes it should be better to fix the bit rate to a constant value. So it's up to you. You can select the video quality, so different formats, so probably selecting changing the bit rate correspondingly. So I will keep it in first, the maximum image quality. For the second stream we have VGA even less, it's even lower. Okay, so the bit rate is lower, but here probably we can select up to 30 frames per second, and also we have variable. Okay, and the third is even lower, so we cannot even choose the resolution, and it's set to this bit rate, so pretty low. But in practice we cannot select the third rate one, so maybe I don't know why it is useful actually, whatever. And we have even another one for mobile pictures resolution, so if you want to receive automatically on your phone some elements. So we can display the OSD time, okay, some OSD information, so we can display the camera name. Okay, we can remove it probably, so because we know that. Or if you want to, if you have several cameras, is very useful. Okay, and sorry for the so we can display the OSD information, or the or if you want to display as well the time, okay, to give some proof of some detection, etc. It's very important to also to overlay the OSD time. So we can continue and now enter into the audio settings. So we have the audio time. Okay, so do you want an audio output? Is clearly yes. And the different stream. Okay, so we have yes, for the three stream we can output the audio and record it. Okay, and for input we can select the volume, so we can set to 100 for the maximum volume of the built-in speaker, and if you want to increase the volume of your mic, you can also select it like this. So I will record it, and let's now have a look to the record settings. So here we can little bit program to schedule the how you will record. So you can select first on to want to for example record, and we can select what type of stream you want to record. So you can export this stream to via FTP or to a specific recorder. So you can select what type of stream you want to record, and select what will be the between the 7 days of the week and different hours what you want to record specifically, or select everything if you want to record all the time non-stop. Let's continue. We have some alarm device, as that be very important. So it's more in terms of detection you will eventually have. So if you have a detection, you want probably send an email, okay, and send pictures, or between 1 or 3 pictures. You can eventually export and send the pictures and the video to an FTP. Okay, so a dedicated FTP server. Rollout is the, I don't know exactly what is used for, but you can also not only export the first stream to an FTP server, you can also, associated with a detection event, also record in super high 1080p resolution the event of the in terms of pictures and videos into the built-in SD card. But as you saw, when I try to record, I get an error message saying that I don't have I have less of 2 GB, even if I've got a 32 GB micro SD card. So there is a problem of compatibility of micro SD card. So and we have this time of alarm preset. So if you want, for example, to export via mail 3 images, you can select 3 images, send to your email. Okay, it's probably the basic alarm you can have. And voila. So if you for example configure your push-up email system, you can also automatically raise and have an alarm on your phone when you receive such kind of email. So I will apply it. Okay, and let's continue. In terms of email, so I already pre-configure the elements. So actually I will use my Hotmail address, and so this is the typical SMTP server. So the URL, the port, the protocol used. I need an authentication, so I need my email, my password, and I also configure the receiver and the sender with the same email, but it could be another one, whatever. The subtopic of your email, and if you want to apply a specific message. So you can press the test button until you see that it's successful. You have to tweak a little bit this information here. For me it's working, so I can press the test and I should have a success message after a couple of seconds. Should appear. Okay, test success, so it's working fine. So now let's go to the FTP. So you have to configure your own FTP server. Okay, so IP, or if you are using a DNS and so on, your URL and so on, username, password if you are working on passive mode or not, the local storage path, and you can test by sending a test file if the connection is correctly done. I didn't set up an FTP server actually, so I will leave blank all this field. We have the system log, so with some typical logs of the built-in OS of the camera. And let's now have a look at the network settings. So if you have a dynamic IP address, you can select, or fixed IP address, you will fix this one, but it can be dynamic. Okay, so I will leave it dynamic. And in terms of DNS, you can select it as manual if you have a specific DNS server somewhere, or if you have a specific DHCP, it will you can configure everything like this. Okay, so it's up to you if you have a manual DNS or not, etc. You have the associated port. So very important if you want to broadcast the video signal through some LAN settings, so you will have to configure your own LAN setting like this. I won't enter into more details because it's so dependent of your current network's choices. In terms of wireless, because I'm connected to wireless, of course you have to enable it if you are connected wireless, but if you want to be connected LAN, you can turn off in like this. The SSID where you are currently connected, the type of security mode, etc. is strongly advised that the password of your internet box should be not exceed 8 letters. Okay, if you have some problem, maybe it's a trick to make the connection working. We have some DDNS settings, so okay, some other, if you are using some DNS server, okay, PTZ sets. So we can, for example, select some number of cruise laps, the speed of the gimbal. Okay, if you want to center after offset, we can turn off this option and close the alarm while PTZ movement. So we can, for example, turn on. Is turned on by default. I'm not aware really about this option, so I will apply. And let's continue. Multiple settings. Okay, I will authorize this one. Okay, so we have some LAN settings. I don't know what is used for, but probably to connect several devices. Okay, so I won't go further. You can change the current admin password, okay, user password or guest, so you can different level of administration between full administration up to a specific guest. Okay, so you can allow different rights according to this type of users. Maintain is where you can, for example, reboot, or if you want to upgrade the firmware, you have to browse the firmware file. Okay, and but actually on the Wanscam website, I didn't see any new firmware available. So it's via the web interface you can upgrade the firmware of the camera. We have the fifth panel, so it's turned on by default, of course. If you want to integrate this camera into some different security system software, this is the way to go. Okay, probably more interesting, we have the motion detection, and as I mentioned in the first part, you can select up to 4 different detection zones. So for example, let's define one. You will move this square. For example, we want to focus our attention in terms of detection here. Okay, so we can move this. We can select the threshold, so higher will be much more detection, but means also much more false alarm, or lower mean the non-detection rate will increase, but the false alarm rate as well. So it's depends, and I noticed that it's super sensitive. So for example, if I can hold my hand into this area, you will see that it's very, very sensitive. So the motion detection is working pretty well. So if you don't decrease the sensitivity, you should probably receive a tons of email automatically, especially if you have up to 3 photos between inside each detection. So you can define whatever, and a second zone. So for example, if you want to pay attention on a specific bottom right corner, you can apply, and also another threshold. So it's really, really good. Okay, so according to the zone you are, you can separate the sensitivity threshold and define some really special window detection zone. So it's really pretty well, so pretty good, and it's pretty important that you need at least to define one zone if you want to the detection, motion detection working. So at least you need at least Windows 1. Okay, so let's focus, say that we want something not really targeting the ground, but something here. Okay, so I will define a new one, and something more wider, and decrease the sensitivity to something like this, 20. I will apply. Okay, so now it's running in real time, and when there is an object moving inside, the green rectangle will turn into red. Okay, so now I've configured one zone for detection, and it will send automatically via email any photos of the entering object. It's great. We have the auto snap. So if you want automatically to record to make some time lapse. Okay, actually it's 60 seconds, but you can decrease this value and send to either to the SD card or to an FTP server. It's great. Okay, and here we have a video mask. So probably to I'm not sure what it's used for, but probably to pay your attention on different part of the image. And actually it's done locally, so we can apply a different color inside. So okay, and I don't know if I can apply the color one at least, and I can apply it, so it will be okay, a blank. So okay, so it's very useful to mask a zone if you want to be sure that a detection can't appear on a specific zone. So for example, in the super bottom side, okay, I will remove the windows and for example redefine this one, and I will say for example I don't want any detection on the bottom side of the image, so I will configure a mask like this and apply it. So actually with this definition I can't have any motion detection at the bottom part. Okay, so it's a great tool. Maybe we can expect something to define more a polygon zone as mask, but it's already not bad to have some rectangular mask. So almost did the tour. We can go now to the image, and very important, we can here on this one either flip the video. So let's apply it. It will reverse up and down, or if I mirror the image it will be left and right, I guess. That's it. So okay, so you can of course activate both options, okay, to have a and here you can select the YDR option. It's turned off by default, so if you install your camera outdoors where you are very sensitive to a sunrise or sunset, could be very useful to apply a wide dynamic range. And here, pretty important, this is the ER LED control. So if you are sure that you don't really want to make some night detection, so you can turn off, for example, the ER light like this automatically, or automatically thanks to the built-in light sensors, you can this light will be turned off after nominal values. Okay, and here you have the sensitivity of the infrared sensors. So I did the tour. Pretty large option, working pretty well. So my main question is why recording here is not working. Can I take pictures? Yes, it sounds to be that I can take a picture, but I don't know why I cannot record the file. At least I can record it on the smartphone or tablet, but I'm a little bit disappointed that not all micro SD cards are compatible with this IP dome camera. So now it's time to make some more videos testing, okay, in night and days condition.